Just to the agenda this morning. Let's go for the minutes of October 5th. Someone want to move those?
I'll move
Amanda
them.
moving them, seconded by Glenn. Any discussion on the minutes? Let's vote. Glenn,
Yes.
Shauna,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Well, I think this is the last meeting of the complete census count committee for Tompkins County. Little bittersweet. We've done a lot, but probably not as much as we had hoped to do when we started this thing a year and a half ago. But it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of not having great staff work and having great cooperation among the legislators, and particularly all the people who have come and to our meetings and helped. They brought ideas, they brought volunteers, they brought ways to get the information out to people, and all of that's been pretty important. So I think we all get a gold star. I think this has been a success. We've had a pandemic we've had to deal with that kind of shortchanged us from some of the things we were doing. And we've had court actions and state actions that have kept us in turmoil a little bit, particularly with our grant funding and things like that. But the county legislature came through with some funding for us. We've done a lot of advertising and other things. And I think we can all be proud of what we've done this year and last year. I see we've been joined by George by joined, something like that. Hi, George McGonigal. So that's pretty much the preliminaries I've got to say today. We've got a short time frame for Dominic Recchio and Amy are there in the one of the conference rooms. I don't know which one you're at, but they've got another meeting. So I'm going to let them report early on here if I could. So Amy or Dominic.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, we're in the Emergency Operations Center up at Department of Emergency Response up in the side conference room.
Oh, you're in the side conference room there. Okay.
Yeah. From my end, not a ton of updates. We ran our campaigns pushing for people to take the census right up until the very end. I know that one of the things we wanted to talk about in this meeting and moving forward was, sort of encapsulating what did we do successfully this time around, and what did we learn that we want to carry to next time. But I've been reflecting on that, and I think that next time, hopefully, we won't be in the middle of a pandemic, so it will be a very different, a lot more in person, back to the way that we're used to doing in some of those ways. So, in thinking about what did we do this time that we could learn from, this may be the anomaly of what to learn from, and certainly. I learned some things in the ad campaign we can apply, but I think 10 years from now, on the end of what's different from the pandemic, it'll look very different. So I didn't have any updates on that sort of question posed last time, but I really liked the way that PIAB was able to involve in this process, and I stepped in about halfway in, and felt like it was a good process working across the legislature group and PIAB and with other county staff. So. Happy to answer any other questions, but no real update from my end.
I would say similar to Dom, not a lot of updates here. I think the reflection on the fact that it looked different this time, and probably in 10 years will look very different, hopefully, than pandemic times. As far as any other updates, Nick Murphy, our management fellow, has actually left county administration and has gone to the assessment department. So he's stayed with Tompkins County and is learning how to be a real property assessor over there. So that's great. Nick, you may have remembered, had tried to work through that state grant in every iteration that they provided us. That definitely, as we look at things that were challenging, kind of getting our hopes up and then not being able to deliver with that state grant. I think one of the lessons learned, though, is how we can work and support our nonprofit partners I think we did that probably 10 years ago and will be something that will continue on in the future, providing them with some of the things that they need. They are great conveners, and so continuing to use them to do that will be something that we'll do in the future. So that's all I have as far as updates from our end. No new state grants have come in the last 5 days, so that's good news as far as, try one last time. So we'll move ahead and thank you all for your work on this.
Well, thanks, Amy. Thank you, Dominic. Dominic, you've done a great job since you came on in the middle of all of this. And Amy, you've from administration, you've been our heartbeat all along and got us through a lot. And I'm sorry Nick isn't here this morning, but please express our sincere thanks to him. I know how hard he's worked on this effort for us. It's pretty important.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. We'll let him know. And thank you for the kind words.
Any questions for either of them? Well, you got off easy this morning. So when you need to leave, you can. Now we understand you have another meeting.
Yeah, I think Kay may have a question.
Oh, Kay's got her hand up. Okay, and then that's George.
I had a question that maybe Mike Koplinka knows the answer to. I mean, there have been reports that the people going door to door around the country, so I don't know if it happened here or not, were pressured to fake things, like say that nobody was living there or they wouldn't let them in, or things like that, that were simply untrue in order to get the numbers up to like 99.9%. And I wondered if that was happening here or not.
Okay, I've heard nothing about that other than the news report about a court case that has that as a basis. Not locally, but I heard that on the national media. I don't think Mike Koplinka is here this morning. Kathy, am I wrong? Is he here?
No, he's not.
Okay, so I can't ask him to respond to it. Of course, he's no longer
Okay.
employed by the census. He was done, I believe, at the end of September. Although he did a lot of work for us. So I guess I can't answer the question unless anybody else has any information on that.
No, we got some questions from some of the folks leading the door knocking efforts at the county, and they were mostly just social distancing type questions. I did not get any indication of anything. I also heard the national news reports, but through the 5 or so conversations I had with either individuals who were going door to door or their supervisors, that did not come up as one of the topics.
Good.
George, you had a question.
Yeah, I just have a obvious general question. Do we have a number for how many people live in Tompkins County right now?
Not from the new information, no. Before it was what, 100 and
102?
103, somewhere right around there from 10 years ago.
So we still have to add it all up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we won't get the data, the data and the block data until next spring sometime,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately. And that's the whole problem we have with the redistricting issues
Right.
for the legislature and
Yep.
maybe for council.
Yeah, they'll realign the wards based on that.
Okay.
Mike, it's Nancy Zahler.
There's Nancy. Nancy, you're
sorry.
lighting up. Go ahead.
Do we know what our response rate was for Tompkins County?
Well, just statewide, they're claiming 99%. I don't have the exact figures for Tompkins County yet. We haven't seen them that I know of.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for Dominic or Amy? Okay, let's go to the Public Information Advisory Board. Patty Poist.
Morning, everybody. I don't really have much to report as well. Just want to echo what everybody said previously, and that I think the county and Dominic's office and Nick did an amazing job given the challenging circumstances. I thought what particularly went well was when they localized various departments and beneficiaries of funding that is based on the census, such as transportation, talked about, our local politics, et cetera. I think that was very well done. And I think in answer to Nancy's question, I don't have the final response rate, but last time Michael Kaplinka-Lair reported to us, he said it's going to very much closely mirror the state and maybe even a little better. But in terms of exact figures, I don't have those. We can, again, he no longer works for the census. It's like he got immediately cut off when the cutoff date was announced. So, but anyway, great job, everybody. That's all I have.
Any questions for Patty? Okay. I don't think we could have got anywhere near complete count if it hadn't been for the wonderful cooperation we've had from the university and the colleges, and the fact that we've had Kate Supran and Doreen here at each of our meetings, and I know they and their counterparts at the educational institutions have been doing yeoman's job trying to figure out how many students were living here on April 1st of 2020. And they've done a great job. But I'll ask them if they would like to report to us this morning. Whoever wants to go first. Kate?
I'm not sure I had any additional reports. We continued to follow up on inquiries. I think we had one building in College Town that had to be recategorized and recounted. But yeah, nothing new. And like Dominic, or as Dominic said, I'm hoping that 2030 will be a different time for the census and many other things. And it was great to be part of this working group.
Doreen?
I would concur. I don't have anything new either, and hoping that 2030 is a little less chaotic or a lot less chaotic than 2020 has been. Also hoping I'm retired by then. Just saying, I've done the census twice now. That's plenty for me. We'll see if that comes true. I have a 14-year-old, so I could be working until I die, but this group has been very helpful to know what's going on in the community and for the support for the institutions as well. So thank you all for all of that.
Questions for either of them this morning? We're all certainly hopeful that we don't, in 10 years, have COVID-29 we have to deal with. Well, let's go to other agencies. I see Teresa Vatican from the library, who's been a faithful attendee. Thank you very much.
Yes, so it was my first year well, I've been a librarian for about 15, but I've never done the census. So what a year to do it. I wish we could have done more, but we did, I think, the best job we could do with the circumstance. And our census machines, they were used. I wouldn't say they were busy every day, but I think by that point, a lot of our patrons had done it already. And we did get out the word as best as we could. So I'm really happy with that. It was nice to work with all of you. I think we did a great job with the stress we were under. And I enjoyed working with the people from the census as well and got to know people better. And I know now a lot more about the census than I did previously. And if it in 10 years, who knows, maybe I will be doing it again. So thank you.
Well, the library has been a wonderful support, and so have the rural libraries.
Yes.
Out there. And we couldn't serve as many people without your efforts and their efforts, and certainly making space available for training sessions and things like that was a real help here for our effort. Any questions for Teresa? Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah.
Jennifer Tavares. Morning.
everyone. Hi. I don't have much else to say, but thanks for having me along. And we were happy to support your efforts and help share information when we could, and our newsletters and media channels and whatnot. And hopefully we will have some data that we can work with for the next decade or so together. So looking forward to working with you all again next opportunity.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks for all the effort the chamber's put forward here, and your communications out to your listservs and all of that has been a big help to all of us. Any questions for Jennifer? Dave, was that your hand up or not?
Oh, Mike, it wasn't my hand up.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to say something about Greg Potter before we move on. Greg's there, I see this morning. Thank you, Greg. This whole effort since the complete count census committee started could not have moved forward anywhere nearly as smoothly if it hadn't been for the efforts of the county administration headed by Greg to locate all of the residences in Tompkins County, so that made sure that the census had them on the list, so they knew who to go to, for example, when they didn't get the self-reporting. Greg, thank you for everything that you did there. I don't know if you want to speak about those efforts, and but we have that all happened before we got to this committee level. So,
right,
I don't know what term they used, but you can tell us.
Yeah, it's referred to as Luca. The county went through all of the census address details and compared it to our local version and made any corrections and resubmitted it through the local program to the Census Bureau. There were quite a few, particularly with all the development in the city of Ithaca these days in the Lansing area. So that was incorporated into the information that was distributed out initially as part of the census project, the account project. So.
All right, Greg. Well, you get a gold star too, and all the folks that help you in your department.
Yep, and Mike, we've got, and Amanda, we've got a draft version of the website for the redistricting project. I know it's probably a ways away, but we've assembled all the information from the past to redistricting projects and put it in one place that is still in draft mode for us to look at collectively at some point in the future.
That's for the county redistricting you're talking
Yes,
about.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, thank you, Greg. That's a big help. Any questions for Greg? Kay Wagner from the League. Have you got anything more you'd like to report to us this morning?
No, not in terms of the census. I just hope everybody has voted. I know I was there out by the airport at like 25 after 6 on Wednesday morning, and by the time I left, the line was out of sight, just huge. So anyway, that's just a brief report on voting, but yeah, nothing to report on the census. Just waiting. I guess I feel concern about what the current administration is going to do with the census figures and whether they're going to be trying to throw out non-citizens, which seems to be their goal, but we'll see what happens.
I'm guessing probably the lawsuits we've seen are the tip of the iceberg. I think normally census, there's all kinds of lawsuits, and it'll have to shake out eventually, but it won't be for probably a couple of years before we know some of the answers to questions like that one.
Yeah. I just do want to thank everybody for their hard work. I mean, all of you have been working incredibly hard, and it's been amazing to watch.
Nancy, you've been here, Nancy Zahler, I'm sorry. I have Zahlers and Zahlers. You've been with us almost every meeting and brought great ideas and thoughts from your position in the town of Ulysses, and wondered if you have anything you'd like to say to us this morning.
No, other than I appreciate all the efforts. I think this was a little bit more expanded and diverse census committee than I was aware of in the past, and I think those efforts to bring in our allies in the Latino community and others, I think was good. I think that the leadership the county library provided both on it for its own efforts and how those rolled out to local libraries were good. We were able to get some good cooperation from our school district, even though they were closed. They were still sending flyers home with the home delivered meals that they were doing and put some notices on their website. And I think having, look 10 years back, we now have an electronic newsletter for our town, and we use that. I don't know how many times we posted reminders and created links for people to make it easier. So, I think it was a more robust effort, and hopefully it will yield fuller results. And this time, actually, with the help of the planning department, it was, I think, at least a couple of years ago, Joan Jerkowitz came to a TCOG meeting and asked people if there were any other census districts that they wanted to carve out for local planning purposes. And so for the first time in 2020, our little hamlet of Jacksonville is now its own census district, which will make planning in that community a lot easier. So from way before the census started through all of the efforts, I've been grateful to be a part of it and to watch a really great group of people doing our level best to count everyone. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions for Nancy? George McGonigal, anything you'd like to say to us this morning? Oh, you're muted still. There.
I have been riding on your coattails. I just haven't done much myself, but I appreciate all the work that's being done, and I'm glad we're almost at the end.
Thank you for your efforts and being here with us and being our liaison with the city.
Well, today it was a good excuse to stay indoors.
For all of us. Okay, any questions for George? I think we've got talked to all the agencies. Did I miss anybody? And then I want to go to our legislators and ask if they have any final comments they'd like to make. Okay. Amanda, any thoughts this morning?
Well, just a thank you to you, Mike, for leading these meetings and rounding up all the folks and keeping it going. And I think, having all these great organizations participate has really been key to this. So thank you for leading it, and thank you to Kathy and our other clerks for keeping track of everything.
Absolutely. They've made it easy for us. As always, they do a terrific job. And both Kathy and Michelle are here this morning. Thank you, Amanda. Dave, any thoughts?
No, I'd like to echo what Amanda said. Thank everybody for their efforts on our behalf and the county's behalf. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And Mike, thanks very much for keeping this going. It's not been easy considering some of the issues that have come up with COVID and everything else. So anyway, and thanks to the staff, of course. So that's me. That's it.
Well, we'll be better prepared for 2030. Shauna.
I have nothing more to add that hasn't already been added. Thank you to everyone who's shown up to all of these meetings every month. I know it's been frustrating for us to think that we're getting, at one point, what, $80,000, $130,000 to market the census, and then for us to, I don't know, get 5 in the end, and that was our county tax dollars. So, I think we did what we had to do, and we're able to get the word out, and I hope that we will see that number in our responses. And, thank you to everyone. It really was a team effort.
Thanks, Shauna, and thanks for your participation as well as the other legislators. Glenn, any thoughts from you this morning?
Well, Michael, I think David, Amanda, and Shauna have said it all. Under the circumstances, everybody did a fantastic job. I'm very impressed with everybody. And thank you very much.
We'll have the final set of minutes here, and we could certainly add to those minutes as attachments anything that anyone would like to submit to Kathy Covert or me with ideas that could be archived until the next complete census count committee in 10 years. I know from experience that looking at the ones from 10 years ago was a big help, particularly thinking about organizations to contact to ask to participate and how the meetings were laid out for us 10 years ago. And so those minutes archived can be a really good place for the next group to start. So if you have any thoughts you'd like to do, even if it's a paragraph or two, just send it in and we'll attach it to the minutes. Is there anything else this morning that anyone would like to bring up or discuss? Well, I think we're going to have to say that we're going to adjourn, and this will be the last meeting, so you won't have to come at 9 o'clock on Monday morning next month in December, unless something really strange happens, which I expect. So can I get a motion to adjourn? From Amanda? Do I get a second from anybody? Glenn seconds it. Okay. So let's go ahead and adjourn. And again, thanks to Kathy and Michelle for being here to think this through. And thanks to all of you, and have a good, pleasant day, and hope you don't have to shovel too much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Have a good
Goodbye.
one.
Thank you.
So long.
Make sure you keep that snow out there in Dryden, Mike.
We always do.